All right, so we're going to start section 2, and we're going to be looking at some questions on trade. So it's chapter 9. So reminder, you'll open up, go into section 2. We're going to click on chapter 9 homework, and you'll scroll down to homework. And the ones that are for credit are the ones that say counts towards grade. And let's go ahead and just open that up. And I believe there are a couple of questions. So we'll go ahead and open that up. All right, so as a reminder on all of these questions, you always want to read the question one time, I would suggest. Kind of look at what it's giving you the information and then go back and reread the question. So this is on trade, and brief reminder on how to interpret these diagrams. So you're given a diagram below, so it has domestic demand, domestic supply, and you're told this is Canada. So this is Canada, and they're producing wine. So it says the world price of wine is below the price that would prevail, or that would be in Canada in the absence of trade. So brief review here. With no trade, or what we call a closed economy, we would get to an equilibrium where the domestic supply and demand intersect with one another. And we'd be right here where my cursor is. But now this diagram is saying the world price, so that's the price being charged in the world, is below this equilibrium price. You need to know what that means. So the way you interpret that is the world is able to actually produce, you can think of it like this, the world is able to produce this good at a lower price than can Canada, because the going price is down here, where Canada's going price would be up here. So whenever the world price is below a country's equilibrium, that means that the world can do it cheaper. And so if you were Canada and the world can do it cheaper, would it not make sense for you to want to import that good into your country? Remember, import means bring in that good into the country. So what you're asked to do in this question is, it says the following graph shows the Canadian market, as we know. So it says use the green triangle to shade consumer surplus when Canada is open to trade, and then use the purple to shade producer surplus. So we did remember consumer and producer surplus last exam, section 1. So consumer surplus is the difference between what a consumer is willing to pay and what they actually pay, what they're willing to pay, what they actually pay, what they're willing to pay, what they actually pay. So the consumer surplus here, I'm just going to do this, is you bring this. So do you see I left clicked, and then you're gonna kind of shade in this area of consumer surplus. So the consumer surplus is the difference between what they would pay and what they actually pay. And producer surplus, I'll let you do that part, is the difference between what the firm would have been willing to charge and what they actually get, what they would have been willing to charge and what they actually get. So what you'll do again, you'll bring your purple cursor and bring it over and shade it in. The next question says, in the following graph, show the effect of this change in weather conditions on the world price by shifting the world price line. Then use the green triangle to shade consumer surplus at this new world price. So what you're told here is that the weather has been exceptionally good. So again, this is from section 1 material. Remember, good weather in agricultural products, or in this case wine, is going to allow for more production to take place. An increase in supply will shift supply overall to the right, and that will drive down your equilibrium price. So if you relate that to, trade in the world, what will happen is your world price will go down. So just to get you going on this question, you're going to left click on this world price line, and you're going to have a new world price that is lower than the initial world price. And you're going to do the same things that you were doing in the previous question. you're going to use these areas to demonstrate what has happened to your consumer and producer surplus with this new world trade. So, quick reminder, consumer surplus is the difference between what consumers are willing to pay and what they would pay, what they're willing to pay, what they would pay. And notice before, what they would pay was up here, but now it's even lower. So as you'll see, the area for the consumer surplus has grown with this new world price being lower. And then I think it's kind of somewhat clear to see what happens to the producer surplus. So I think you should be good with this question now.